Hello and welcome to the Redmen TV. It's Tuesday, it's daily news time. We've got three big stories for you today. We're going to do Takeover Talk continued, followed by Illori, and then some news on Mamadou Sakho as well, which is the big news for the day. But first of all, we did a show yesterday on the Takeover news from Everbright, China Everbright Limited. Now, they've actually got in touch with the IBT Times UK, or vice versa. They've got in touch with them, Aubrey, and they have said, and I quote, China Everbright Limited is not involved in this deal and does not have any information about this, which is quite interesting. Just going back to what Tom Werner said, we've said it before and I'd like to say it again, this club is not for sale. That was on the 20th of August. At the same time, we've been clear that we actively pursue commercial opportunities, which in turn helps us invest in the squad and win football matches. These commercial discussions can be complex, and we've said in the past, under the right conditions and absolutely with the right partner, we could look at some small investment stake in the club, but only in the framework of doing what would be in the club's long-term best interest. I want to reiterate that the club is not for sale. So quite interesting, really. You know, we talked yesterday, Aubrey, we never got your opinion on it, about this idea of someone taking a small stake in Liverpool and what that means for the club. Is it something that you think, having just heard there what the IBT Times UK is saying, do you think that is this got it? Stop. Think about your words. Do you think this deal will happen?
Okay, if they've come out and said this specific deal, they've come out and said no, there's no interest. It's gonna happen tomorrow. No, who knows? This specific deal, I don't know how these deals are played out. But with regards to a deal, it will happen. A 12 to 15% stake in Liverpool will be sold to some company in Asia, most probably China, in the next 2-3 years. Do you know why? Because every fucking Premiership team will do that in the next 5 years, and we're one of the big guns has already fallen in Man City. We will be on that list of who to get into next. When you've got owners who aren't like the traditional old school football club owner, who doesn't really exist anymore with Ken Wright selling, who are the local lad done good, bought his own team, you know, they're outside.
There's still one going.
Which one?
Newcastle.
Yeah, local
it's
lad
not done well
good.
there, has it? Like,
yeah.
So.
But do you know what I mean? It's like, it's that thing of like, they're going to look for commercial things. The reason why we have an official donut sponsor of halftime is because our owners look for commercial enterprises. You sent me a fascinating article. I can't remember what the article was hosted on, but it was all about China and football and how the state basically sees them being good at football and football thriving in China as massively good for their economy and for their sense of well-being. So they're really pursuing stuff, and that was where it talked about the 12% sale in Man City. And ultimately, there's a hell of a lot of people in China. One of the things that came out of the article was how many coaches did Real Madrid have over there?
I think there was 1,200 coaches Real Madrid had, something like that.
It was a ridiculously high figure. Basically, they had a lot of coaches, including former players and high coaches who were on like a 5-year sabbatical over in China to train, learn, teach the Chinese teams and Chinese players better. It's also scouting, isn't it? Because the next big Chinese superstar, guess who he's going to play for? He's going to play for Real Madrid if they've got that many coaches over there already doing the work and scouting.
I remember
us
talking about it at the time, is that we're playing catch up on like the loan structure deal that Real Madrid and Barcelona have been played, and you can already see that we're going to be playing catch up on that market of players as well, can't you?
So I can see it happening. I don't know when, I don't know who it'll be involved, but in 2 or 3 years' time, a sliver of Liverpool, if Tom Werner's right and says they're not up for outright sale, a sliver of Liverpool will be spent. And it's not even about financial backing. They'll get money in because obviously it's a financial transaction. It's about market share. It's about having a name and a foothold in Asia, which, you know, it may offend.
When you consider there's 1.1 billion people in China or something along those lines, and there is a club that maybe Man City, for example, are part owned by Chinese, who would those people naturally gravitate to support? You would guess it would be one that's part owned by a Chinese firm or something, wouldn't you?
Exactly. If you've got a Chinese firm, if you've got one of the most watched games ever was Man City versus Everton, and this is in the days before Man City were a big team. This was when Man City only just got promoted, and that was because Tia was playing for Everton and Sun Jihai was playing for Man City, and it was like an 11 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday in England that no one watched because it was a David Moyes Everton team against, I think, a Joe Royal Man City team, and it was watched by like 1 billion people in China because there was 2 Chinese people on the pitch. You naturally identify where, look, the Olympics have just happened. I didn't watch many events when there wasn't a Team GB competitor in them because you want to see your own nation. You want to see people who are from you, have some sort of identity or whatever with you that you identify with to represent yourself. So one stage will be getting a big Chinese superstar into the Premiership. They've got to be good enough. They're not going to just have Joe handicapped by having 10 players and 1 crap player. But ultimately, they're going to raise the standard of the coaching. So that's a long-term one. But if you can go and get a stake in that, that company's going to actively then promote it because it's in its best interests. So there's going to be advertising, there's going to be products, there's going to be billboards and TV things. Look at the Sky Germany deal that we've just done. We've just done this, and it was the point I made about how I was really happy with that. Because Germany have traditionally produced fucking fantastic footballers. Now, if every Premier League game is on live in Germany, and every Friday night, if you're interested in football yourself, you're a sports nut, you watch a lot of sport, you watch the Vice documentaries about the NFL, you've always told me that they're really good. You've watched, what's the one that comes around at the beginning of the season? Hard Knocks. You always watch stuff like that. Now, you get an affiliation for a club that you didn't have an affiliation for by watching those documentaries. My brother-in-law, Daniel, he watched the Vice documentary about the boxers. Whenever there's a big game, a big fight, they do a documentary about them, and he ends up changing his mind or siding even more with someone because of that. So if you're sitting there in Germany and you're watching every Friday night a documentary about this plucky Liverpool team and a German coach and a German star in the making in Chan, you're going to start having an affection for them. When your decision comes to sign a pre-contract agreement with Man City, Southampton or Liverpool, you're probably going to pick that. Yeah. And exactly the same way, if you can get an inroad into China, that's going to help with a lot of people.
Let's not forget, people have been trying this without investment for years now.
Exactly.
You know, the tours before the seasons, pre-season tours and stuff have been going over there. Nobody's really cracked the market as such. That's why all the big teams continue to go there. And it's also why we continue to go to places like America, to massive markets that we're looking to make inroads in. Look, it's not happened quite for Liverpool yet, but maybe with investment it could do. Moving on now, Liverpool Echo are reporting that Thiago Illori could be moving to Olympiacos. They apparently would prefer a loan deal, but we want something around about £3 million for Thiago Illori. It seems a little bit strange that today we're going to be talking about Illori and Sakho, 2 centre-backs, when the common narrative is that we're really short of cover at the back.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll talk about Illori first.
Yeah.
So, in this sense, no, we're not short of cover at the back. Because he's not going to play, is he? Well,
he's not providing cover.
You know, that's exactly. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so when we come on, without sounding really hypocritical and really like doing a pivot on what I'm going to say, yes, sell Illori. It doesn't matter that we've got no cover at the back because ultimately he's proven over time, and it's interesting because they were both signed at the same time and they were talked about as being the future centre-back partnership of Liverpool, the big tall guy, the more comfortable.
Can I just go on record and say that I've never, ever once said that that's going to be the future partnership of Liverpool Football Club at the back, because I'd seen Illori play.
Before he'd signed for us?
No, once he'd signed for us.
Okay. But I remember reading it. I remember the Echo saying, look, they've made this moves here. They've spent, because it's actually quite a decent investment of money, wasn't it, in the two of them, in Sakho and Illori. But ultimately, look, it hasn't worked. For whatever reason, it didn't work. He never got enough game time. I thought he had one good game for us.
I think he got enough game time, to be honest.
Really? And he just wasn't good enough?
It's just not good enough.
But, yeah, if we can make any money on him, fantastic, because this time last year, he was loaned out to Remy Gard's Villa, who got relegated, and he didn't get on the bench. So I don't even know why they bothered. Actually, it wouldn't have been Remy Gard, it would have been Tim Sherwood's Villa at that point. I don't even know why they took him on loan. Yeah. But if we can make money on him, that's great. Get rid of him.
When you say make money, do you mean get money for him?
If we can make money on him now, if you're clothing his value was zero, because he's currently just a wage drain, isn't he? Yeah, we paid for. What you were telling me yesterday? Go on.
It's something around about £3 million. Then we'll have paid a couple of extra payments. We didn't make some of them on appearances and stuff like that. Thankfully, I think there was £500,000 after 20 appearances, £500,000 after 50, and blah blah blah. And then there was apparently, if you read an Empire of the Cop thing from a few months ago, there was something that read into his deal that said, who did we buy him from? Sporting Lisbon. Yeah. We bought him from Sporting, and then if there was a clause that basically said you couldn't sell him to Benfica, Braga and Porto unless they got a bid of 60 million quid. And in which case, in a normal circumstance, Sporting are to receive 25% of the sell-on. If they sold him to one of those three clubs, so once again, Benfica, Braga and who else? Porto, they would receive 50% of that £60 million deal. So that's basically Sporting going, fuck you, you're not selling to one of our rivals in the future. Yeah. That clause apparently, according to Empire the Cop, runs out in 2018, so we're not going to sell him there.
There's a fear of that, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean,
for 60 million bid from Porto is just getting a line. That's why they haven't done it. They're waiting until 2018. The day that clause ends, Porto are gonna go for him.
Amazing.
But I just hope that
you heard it here first.
I hope that we've put that clause into every one of our sales.
Not Man United.
Yeah.
Not Chelsea. And fuck Everton, because I know they're not really a rival.
Yeah. Jordan Ibe can't join them unless they get a bid of 150 million and we get all of the money.
90. No, let's not be greedy.
99%.
95, come on, give me 5%. So moving on, the one that Liverpool fans are sort of a bit flabbergasted about, I suppose. It broke. Tony Barrett broke it last night. Mamadou Sakho, Liverpool apparently looking at a loan deal, short-term loan deal for the centre-back.
Well, and my Gasta is flabbered. I've no idea. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense other than...
This is the reaction. This is the reaction of Liverpool fans around the world. I've no idea. It doesn't make any sense.
Because we've talked about this off air, obviously, and first of all, you brought up the point, which is something I'd completely forgot about. Klopp came out and is on record saying he doesn't rate the loan system. He doesn't like the loan system. Okay, so there you go. So he's going to send the player out on loan.
He said at the time, didn't he? It was when he first joined the club, and he's clearly changed his mind on that. But he's done a full-on fucking U-turn about it. If this deal is to be believed.
Well, because that's the point, isn't it? If you take it on face value, which is Mamadou Sakho, he missed the end of last season because of the drug scandal. He got injured in the pre-season, so he hasn't trained at all in pre-season. So he's massively behind schedule. He ain't got the game time to get the game time for us. So he's going to send them out on a short-term loan to Roma, I think was mooted.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I don't think it's going to be Roma. Roma were interested in the past in a loan deal, and it's 2+2.
Okay, yeah. So he's going to go on a short-term loan to someone, get his fitness back up, and then come back and play for us. If you believe that is 100% true, Klopp's done a U-turn on what he thinks about loans. If you believe, Klopp doesn't like this guy because he's had drug problems and he's drawn unnecessary, he couldn't trust him because he's lost stock because whether it's his fault or not, he needed him in that Europa League final and he wasn't there. He got sent home because he's a disruptive influence and he's not being the disciplinarian that Klopp wants him to be. So Klopp, this is the phasing out of Mamadou Sakho as a Liverpool player. Yeah, his U-turn on the loan isn't because he doesn't. If he only cares about, if it's a bit like Shankly, he didn't speak to you when you were injured because you were useless to him, and then when you got back to fit, he'd talk to you again. If Klopp says, I don't rate the loan system because what's the point of having one of my players away from me in my training? If you don't consider you one of his players, you can stay at home like Balotelli and not play. Like Luis Alberto didn't get any game time and didn't travel. Mamadou Sakho, get over there. You know what I mean? I don't know.
This is the thing, and I think why I'm sort of leaning to your view on it is because, we're talking about getting him up to fitness. He's not played since, early May, late April, something like that. Was it the Manchester United
Newcastle
game?
The Newcastle game he didn't play. That was the one where we all arrived at Anfield and found the news.
So it's either late April or early May. Now, if that is the case, and you need to send him on loan to get him fit, why are we keeping Joe Gomez as our fourth option over?
Exactly. Why is Danny
Because
Ings?
He's not played for fucking well
Why is
longer.
Danny Ings not on a
And he's still injured now as well. I know Mamadou Sakho's having the heel injury and stuff.
Why isn't Danny Ings on a short-term loan deal at Bournemouth to play for 3 months to then come back to us to play?
The Danny Ings one, you're right. But the Gomez one is that he is being touted as the fourth choice centre-back. Well, we've got Lovren, we've got Klavan, we've got Matip and Gomez are the four that are there.
If Sakho
goes. Yeah. And one of them's not match fit and Sakho's not match fit.
Because he's going to buy a centre-back then. And because he doesn't like him. And again, it's all trying to get into the mind of Jurgen Klopp and trying to get into the mind of what's going on at Liverpool Football Club. We talked about it as well.
So do you not believe Klopp in this one?
Sorry?
Do you not believe that he's telling the truth?
That he's sending him out to get his fitness up? No. You don't do it. We spoke about it, we'll speak about it now.
This is interesting, because this goes back to an argument from last week where everyone believed that Klopp was telling the truth when Moreno wasn't at fault for a goal.
Yeah. Oh, you just want to be right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's just it's just like Pro Evo 06, isn't it? Just can't fucking be wrong. It's 2 months. Look, that goal, it wasn't a ghost goal on Pro Evo, all right? It went across the line.
Look, last week I said, don't believe everything Klopp says.
Yeah.
Because he's playing the media and he's playing the game.
Of course.
And everyone was like, no, it's definitely not Moreno's fault. Klopp's come out and fucking said it. And now you're quite happy to say, I don't believe
take
in Klopp.
my Mamadou away. Yeah, the thing with it is, my logic on it, and we've talked about it and we'll talk about it now, is there's 2 new centre-halves at Liverpool Football Club already this summer, Matip and Klavan. Sakho's not played with them at all. He's had no game time with them. He's going to have to, unless we get very lucky and unless the partnership is Lovren and Sakho, who he has played with in the past, what's the point of sending them out on loan?
Because he should be
training with them every week. So if he goes out on loan, Sakho is not going to be a Liverpool player anymore. It'd be my conclusive idea on it. Because I just don't see any... Klopp's a very logical... In terms of football, he's a very logical football man. He's very methodical. You do not bring 2 centre-halves into your club, new centre-halves, and then ship one out, expecting them to then come back. Like, what happens? Because if it's a short-term loan, it's a short-term loan. It'll probably have like a release clause on it and stuff like that. Lovren gets injured. Sakho's playing brilliant for Swansea, or he's playing amazing for Roma, or wherever he goes on loan. Lovren gets injured. He brings Sakho back because he's fit and he's our player. And he has to line up against Klavan, who he's never had a training session with.
Not that I'm disagreeing with you, but I just don't think the loan works like that anymore. Okay. I don't think you can call people back. I think you can set the time. But I don't think you can call them back, just so you don't get fucking slated in the comments.
Sure, but even in 2 months, so then 2 months, 3 months, and we have an injury, he comes back and he's playing brilliant. He's man of the match every week. And then he lines up next to it. He's got to learn whoever he goes out on loan, unless he goes back to PSG. And I think their defence will have changed radically. Well,
you're looking at it anyway. Matip can play both sides and has played the left-hand side. Klavan is only playing the left side anyway. Mamadou Sakho plays the left side.
Yeah.
So it's a really strange one, isn't it? But look, we could talk about this all day. I want to know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments section below whether you think Mamadou Sakho's career at Liverpool is over or whether you're taking Klopp on his word on this and he's just going out for match fitness. We'll be checking the comments later on today. We'll be replying to the comments, of course. Don't forget that we have got transfer deadline day coming up next Wednesday. We'll be over on the Ball Street channel. It's youtube.com/Ball Street. We'll be there all day doing a big transfer day extravaganza. There is all kinds of crazy ass shit planned. It's going to be exceptional. Go over to Ball Street now, subscribe so you do not miss it. And while you're there, you know what? While you're here, in fact, subscribe to the Redmen TV for all the latest Liverpool news as and when it fucking happens.